sounds good. Damn it. We're on YouTube. Hi, YouTube.
We're
talking about salsa and tacos.
And
cups.
And cups. And
a cute little chopstick, which I featured a couple times.
And you just throw it on the ground.
What did I throw on the
ground?
ground?
I don't know what you threw on the ground. Don't worry about it.
It was probably trash. Again, with the peppermint, though, peppermint dries out your lips more. Just like this crazy guy says that lotion dries out your hands more. Do you guys believe that? Do you believe that, though? I don't know. It does.
No, that's the thing about chapstick. It's the worst thing to put on your lips.
Peppermint is worse than other stuff.
Your body naturally stops producing moisture, so you just have to keep applying more and more of it as you do. So
but if you do like the oily stuff,
Makeup with Stephanie exclusively on YouTube.
You just cut me off.
Yes, because he's playing the music. There's that funky music coming in. Oh.
Windy Wednesday, Wicked Wednesday.
At least you flashed
excited.
in your head really fast there.
I got excited.
You were kind of panicked there. Well, what day is? Oh, it's Wicked Wednesday.
Shut up.
That we're up now on. We were on, as we do, we start on Newswire Daily on YouTube. Now we're on Newswire Daily on Facebook. On that, as we do every Monday through Friday, live at 5, we'll be joining the Mighty Met, 1490 KMET. ABC News Talk Radio in the Inland Empire.
Don't take my intro. He took my intro, Jesse.
Well, I thought I'd give you a little preview of how to set that stuff up.
No, it was horrible.
At least I do them. Remember, this is on video.
It was hiding in my hair. Nobody saw it. And everybody's doing it probably at the screen at the same time I am. So.
That busy news day today. A lot of stuff coming up. We have Susan Shelley coming up here in about 10 minutes to talk about her columns and all the news and everything on that. We got Tommy Joe Martins, who will be racing at the Xfinity race coming up Saturday out at Auto Club Speedway on that. He'll be checking in later in the hour when we come on that to give you a preview because it's big. NASCAR weekend out at Fontana.
Huge.
All this starting Friday with the practice and all the stuff on there, culminating with the pole qualifying days, both days on Sunday, and ending up race day on with the Xfinity 300, which Tommy Joe will be in, and the big party in the infield all Saturday night. Going on with, and even as we were on with Dave Talley, the PR director, the big bicycle show on that, and it is there are probably more bicycles in the infield at Fontana than probably in China, where that's where their main mode of transportation is. But it looks like that. I mean, there's thousands of people riding bicycles through the infield and stuff on that. But
it's really a lot of fun too, with the little store that's there. All the kids are running around. Adults are having fun playing like cornhole, fun little games,
and all that stuff. Yes. Rockin' and rollin' time, so go out and enjoy yourself. If you ain't got nothing to do, go spend it out at Auto Club Speedway at Fontana. This
is nice weather, too.
Yes, the only chance you've got to see NASCAR coming into Southern California on that, so take advantage of it.
A whole another year.
Yes, you got to wait a whole year.
You don't want to do that?
No. And if if more people would show up, maybe they'll run a set, because they used to have 2 races out here. When they first started. And then they did. When they first started, they used to have that. We used to have, back in the day, we used to have 3 races a year. We used to have 2 at Riverside and 1 at Ontario when that track was going on.
Track in Ontario?
Yeah. You know where that little thing called the, what is it, the Owings Mills Mall or whatever the hell it is?
Ontario Mills?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was the site of the Ontario Motor Speedway from 1970 to 80.
Oh. Only 10 years?
Yep.
Oh, that's sad.
It was probably, you talk about a fancy facility that was built back then. That was, they called it the Taj Mahal of racetracks on that. I mean, that was a...
I think racing will have its day when it comes back. I don't think we're there yet, but I think it's getting close.
I sure hope.
I think people just lost the love for the sport. You know?
Well, they need to get it back. Coronavirus has been in the...
Moving on.
Yes, on that. Coronavirus has been... Trump was talking about it today, basically saying there's nothing to worry about. Down in Orange County, the people down there...
There's a lot of people freaking out about this.
Yes.
Orange County, San Francisco. I'm watching the news now. I'm panicking.
Again, you're watching that. Why are they They won't even put homeless people who are out there sleeping in the streets in this building, or they wanted to put them in Orange County. That doesn't make any sense. It was the whole thing of like when they started this and they were going to drop them off over there in Ontario, and then they moved them over to March, and nobody, it's like they're it's like they're trying to do everything wrong in this whole deal of doing that. It's not a epidemic, probably will not be in the United States because we do have such a good, we're kind of ruining it, but I mean, we do have a fairly clean society, and we have a very good healthcare system of that. So the chances of a mass epidemic happening in, like it's doing in China or wherever it's breaking out, is probably nil or very small on the proportion. But it's something that you will not, thousands of people are going to die every year from just the regular normal flu of that. So, what?
Wow.
You didn't know that? I know you didn't know that. No, but there's the very young and the very old, mostly, usually under 5 and over 70 are the ones that, there are thousands of them. If they catch the flu, they're, mainly older people because their immune systems are, declining and stuff. They can't handle it. So, yeah, lots of thousands of people die every year just from the normal, whatever flu's going around.
Right. So, and isn't this coronavirus kind of like the flu? I mean,
yes, it is.
Similar to
yeah, it's in that.
It's not as deadly.
Well, no.
To me, it seems like it's not as deadly as people are making it seem, but they are worried about it.
Well, it is. It's supposedly, depending on what reports, and who knows what's really going on in China. But it is. They are really panicking in China because it is spreading. Because again, they're living in much more primitive circumstances over there. So the outbreak has the potential of doing that. And the biggest thing is they really don't have an antidote, cure, or really know how to fight it because it's a fairly new virus. So if it starts breaking out and starts going out, starts getting out of control, worldwide potentially could kill a lot of people. So there is a legit reason to be concerned about it, but I don't think there's a legit reason to be panicking over it, especially in the United States.
Think it, like with it being flu season, do the same precautions you would as a normal flu season.
Yeah. Maybe
be a little extra cautious, get that hand sanitizer out, wash your hands every once in a while. Don't pick up food from the floor and eat it. Lauren writes in, flu season is at its peak. 10,000 people have already died from flu this season since September or so. 10,000 people, really?
Yeah, a lot of
U.S.?
people. Yes.
10,000?
Yes.
Wow. That's sad.
You didn't...
10,000 just this year?
Yes. That's what I say. People die from the flu.
I thought maybe
year.
It would be like 20 people. U.S. That's crazy. That's sad.
It is, but no. The danger of the coronavirus is if it starts spreading or gets out of control, it could get out of control real fast. So,
right.
I think and I think that's what Trump's saying. We're monitoring it. We're taking every precaution we know in the United States.
And there was one person found with it being positive in Riverside County, and we're taken to Riverside Universal Health System, which is like right by my freaking house.
Right.
Which I like to go eat Panera at. That's been open, which I will no longer be doing for like the next 2 years.
Scratch that off the list.
Yeah, I'm driving off day now. Damn it.
Oh.
It is scary though.
No,
but at least they're treating it and they're cautious about it, and it's on everybody's mind.
As Roy has told you 43,011 million times on that.
Here we go.
They are lying to you all the time. All
Why?
across, there's a big cabal.
Why would you say that?
You even found the deal of that where they did the audit on the lotto and the
that's
$36 million.
I'm not happy with that.
Is missing. We don't even know where it's at.
$36 million.
Okay.
I want you to apologize to the school district, though, for giving them crap. Because they need money, and you're telling them no.
They don't need any money.
It's being
They get
stolen from them. It's being stolen!
$20,000 a student. They do not need any more money.
Well, but still, the money that could go into the schools to build better.
Okay, you know how much is collected,
try talking.
or how many lottery tickets? What's the dollar amount of lottery tickets bought in California per year?
I have no idea.
$7 billion.
What?
You know how much goes to the schools?
Well, I mean, I know how much.
1.7 billion.
Okay.
That's about 1.7%, because the total K through 12 budget in the state of California is over $100 billion.
Okay.
So the amount of that, but even the amount that's collected, very few dollars go into actually of the lottery money actually get into these schools. This is what I've said. Why is the state allowed to run a numbers game and be involved in gambling, and you and I can't?
Yeah, it's an outrage.
This is what we're talking about. Yes.
Junkyard Studios.
Government control. I've said make gambling, prostitution, drugs, make them all legal. As long as you're not harming anybody of doing that. Why should the government have a monopoly on gambling in California?
And we can't.
Correct.
We want answers. Somebody call in.
Of that. So they're running. You talk about a crooked game. They collect $7 billion and they only pay out, of that, and it was sold as you're going to the lottery. And who pays all that? Mostly very low-income people. Of that. They're the ones that buy all the tickets. Now, it's a voluntary tax, per se, because nobody's forcing you to do it. But the government should not be involved in running gambling. That should be a private enterprise deal like it is up in Las Vegas.
Word.
So, but they're ripping you just like they were lying about the gas tax. The article came out in the Washington Examiner the other day. Same thing. They're Newsom and all that. All this gas tax, SB1 that you suckers voted for and stamped in, the gas tax cap and trade. They said we're going to fix your roads and all this stuff. It's all not going there. Again,
can't
they're
blame us
stamping
for falling for their
Yes,
crap.
Because you should be paying attention.
They should be watching KMET 1490 News Radio with Roy and Stephanie.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Consensual activity between consenting adults should never be illegal, Lauren writes in.
Correct. As long as it's not... that's why I say all these vices and stuff that everybody gets all in a tither about. What difference does it make if two people want to make a transaction and go down to the local motel, for a half an hour and do their thing?
Oh my God.
Who cares?
A transaction.
But that's what it is.
Wow.
If you want to be a hooker and there's a John out there that wants to pay for it, say lovey for snorting.
Freaking transaction. Oh, I love that. Oh, crap. That was awesome.
I like the way you do business.
Yes.
Let's not make it. No.
It should be. No, I mean, they should have it.
It
should be in certain areas controlled. Okay, you got to be, I could see being licensed and you're tested, make sure HIV doesn't get spread or all that,
But I feel like if it's going to get spread, maybe we shouldn't be hooking up with a hooker. I mean...
Well, that's probably some fairly sage advice. But if you're going to do that, we know that's going to happen because it's happened through all recorded history. So let's regulate it. Let's control it. Okay, this is where you have it, and voila, everybody's happy.
Awesome. That was great.
We look at how much law enforcement costs we could save on that.
What would we be saving money on?
Law
HIV?
Enforcement costs, because then they wouldn't have to be worried about busting the hookers and the Johns and all this stuff.
And you could tax it.
Yes! Make it a legit business. We have on the line
casinos and hookers. The show's off to a great start.
Of that coming on, we have the editorial writer of the Press Enterprise, San Bernardino Sun, Redlands Daily Facts, Inland Daily Bulletin, and a gazillion newspapers all across Southern California. More importantly, I believe, Vice President of Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association, Susan Shelley. Welcome back to the show.
Well, it's great to be here.
You're on with Stephanie Roy. I don't know if you caught the Washington Examiner on article of where they said on the, and it goes with the column you wrote about about the gas tax and stuff, but they're saying now, they're freely admitting that the money is not going to fix or build roads. It's going to bullet trains and bike lanes and environmental this and cap and trade that and yada, 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 while your butt is going to be parked in the I-10 parking lot, the 405, and practically every other freeway and road in Southern California, while you suckers take this treatment while they are continually ripping you off, and you know this probably even more than I do, that where this money is going is to feed the pension crisis that's coming in public employees. It's like the bonds and everything else that they're trying to pass.
Always. That's exactly what happens. Some of it goes to cronies. They tell us, oh, we want this money to fix the road. But
Did we lose Susan?
Oh, that's just.
can you?
Yeah, there we
me?
go. I think we got you back. Okay.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. And so they're using the money not just for pensions, but to give money to cronies for different kinds of construction projects that people get big contracts to build. And then they give big donations to the politicians. And it's just a giant slush fund. It's really discouraging.
It is, because one of your editorials this week is about that. California does this two-step on adding more taxes. I mean, when are the people going to wake up? I mean, I'm about ready to explode again. Of all this stuff. I mean, it's just like it's like we're in this bizarre world where the vast majority of the people are just not connected to reality or something. Did we lose Susan again?
I think we did.
I think we lost Susan. No, it's absolutely. See if you can call her back, or see if we can establish a new line, because that one might be a little bit bad. But no, it is. I mean, we got the $15 billion bond. Look, in parts of Moreno Valley, you're going to have 3 school bonds on the deal. You're going to have the $15 billion statewide one. You're going to have the $715 million one from RCC school district. Then, if you're in Val Verde, they got $100 million one, something or other going on there. So, in a lot of these jurisdictions, I think they got one in San Bernardino and in other jurisdictions. In some places here, next Tuesday, some places are going to have 3 or 2 or at least 1, because there's the one statewide. You're going to have 1, 2, or 3 bonds, which are taxes of that, which are, like you said, you're outraged that the commonality between lotto employees and cops and firefighters and teachers and everyone else are?
What?
They're public employees.
Lotto employees are?
Yes. And they're all ripping off the system, just like 36 million that they've been partying on. That's been documented. They go and buy.
I know, they go on trips.
5-star motels
that?
right down the street from where they're working.
Not even trying to get a cheaper discount.
Yes,
I'm outraged.
It's absolutely incredulous of what's going on this stuff. I mean, we're driving. I mean, it's driving me crazy on this stuff of doing.
So, do you think if the money was put where it should be and spent as it should have been, that we wouldn't be in so much debt?
We could spend.
Or do you think that what they're using, that $36 million? I mean, is it like pennies to California when it comes to how much money?
We could cut the school budget in half, spend $10,000 per student, give them a better education than what they're getting now, and everybody would live happily ever after on that. So we got that.
But even now, to just give it to education, I mean, give it back to the state.
Yes, it should be back in your pocket, not theirs. We got you back, Susan?
Hello, I think so. Can you hear me?
Yes, you're much better. You're coming in. We must have had a bad connection on that. We were talking a little bit about the school bonds and the taxes and everything else coming up on that. Just refresh them a little bit on your column. California does the 2-step on adding more taxes.
Well, a perfect example of this is Proposition 13 on Tuesday's ballot. Now, what this does, the giant bond measure, has nothing to do with the original Prop 13. $1 billion bond. And the two-step is, passes, it drags into enactment a piece of legislation of school districts at the local level to borrow a lot. They should fund local property tax bills. So if statewide bond, Prop 13, passes on Tuesday, all the local property tax bills will go up in this step. You're not going to see that in the Prop 13 language, but it brings in this other piece of legislation.
Another thing on Prop 13, and if I have this right, when we had John Coppell on, president of Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association, is if 13 passes, the threshold of what they are allowed to assess your properties at is going up also. So on top of that, school districts across the state will be able to add more bonds in the future on this where they're capped out on the assessment versus the value. Is that correct? I think we lost Susan again.
She probably said yeah, though.
Yeah, I'm sure she probably did on that. Yeah, we're just having trouble with her. Yep, there we go. We're lost that phone line again. No, it is. And I mean, John Coppell says that's the danger. Do you hear them
But wait,
talking
did
about
she say
that?
Tuesday when it passes?
If it passes.
This Tuesday coming
This
up.
Tuesday, yes, is election day in California.
Is it really?
Yes, March 3rd.
I knew that.
Yes, you did. And I'm not going to argue with you. Of
Please
that.
don't.
No, it's crazy of what's going on that stuff, and yeah, I cannot believe the disconnect. And if we keep doing this, like I said on education, we could cut the budget in half, provide a better education for the kids. It's not a lack of money. They are spending, like I said, $20,000 per student, K through 12, each and every day, each and every kid. So
That's insane.
yes, and they claim they're starving to death.
Well, no, because they feed them free lunches. Well, Marine Valley Unified has free lunches for all students.
Again,
So I don't know why they'd be.
it's ridiculous the amount of money we are spending.
But
on
how do we
this.
get whoever is charging the schools to lower whatever they're charging the school districts? You know what I mean? Like somebody's got to be charging the school district. This is how much it's going to cost you per student to put it in a classroom.
No,
How do we get them to lower?
it's Prop 98. Prop 98, which passed in 1988, mandated that 40% of the general fund in California had to be spent on schools. So we have a $122 billion, $22 billion general slush fund. So that's about $50 million. Then they tack on all this other stuff. Gets to over $100 billion. Then you have these local bonds like Measure M and Moreno Valley Unified School District. Just take the simple math. In the state, we got over $100 million. We got about 6 million students, K through 12. That's 17 grand per student the state's kicking in. Then you add on the local measures like Measure M or this, or like the community college Measure A that's coming up. It's going to be on the ballot for Riverside Community College. If you're in Val Verde, you're going to have another local school bond on there. That adds up to about $20,000 per student average in the state of California that it costs to educate one student K through 12 per year.
So how do we lower that? I want answers, Roy.
Elect people that have a little bit of sanity to them, like Jeff Hewitt of supervisor in
Oh, I love
Riverside
Jeff.
County.
He's such a sweetheart. He's a funny guy, too. He gives great speeches.
Yes, he does.
Jarrett writes in, the lottery has always been an idiot tax, yet a majority of the people that pay are people that scream, taxation is theft. Such irony. Such irony. There we go.
But it
Thank you,
is.
Jarrett, for writing in.
It goes to the communistic thing where they do. The vast majority of the taxes are paid by middle to lower class people.
Mm-hmm.
They pay the majority of the not income taxes, all taxes. And a bigger percentage of their income goes to paying taxes than the rich guy.
Right.
This has been proven all across the board in every case, even in the so-called socialist wet dreams of Norway and Sweden and stuff. The lower income people were the ones that were paying the bulk of the taxes until they figured out this isn't working out too red hot, and they started putting in free market principles.
See, I think taxes are great, but why can't they just make everybody, no matter how much you make, pay one set amount and that's it? If you make $1 million more than the next person next door to you, then good for you, you're making more money. Why do they have to charge the rich more and the poor, right? Or is that wrong?
You're talking real fairness.
Yeah, why not?
And that's...
if someone goes out there and they strive in life and they succeed and they make more money than me, why shouldn't they have more money than me?
Yes. You're getting the free market stuff down pretty good.
Am I?
Yeah.
Did I win something?
Maybe you'll win a brighter future. Susan, Shelley, I think
Probably
we
not.
got you back.
I
We
live in
got
California.
about 5 minutes
I think
left.
so.
Yeah,
Well, hi.
we got about 5 minutes left. Stephanie said, well, how can... And it's a great question. How come we're just not paying one set amount on the taxes instead of having all these other What's your take on that?
On the property taxes?
On every tax, on all taxes.
On every tax. Well, the problem is that the government spends way too much money and takes on way too many things and hires too many people to do everything and is too generous with benefits. And people who are paying the taxes for those benefits and all those salaries, they don't make as much money. They don't have those pension plans. They don't have those health benefits. And there's never enough. Because even when they have more revenue, as they do now, we have a record-breaking budget and record revenue. It's never enough because they want to spend more and more and expand the programs further and further. Now they want the government to pay for babysitting, which is going to be union workers, much more expensive than hiring babysitters the old-fashioned way. And this sort of thing, this endless expansion, is burdening the taxpayers to the point where people are leaving the state.
I'll tell you what my theory is on it, and that's why I say that everybody focuses on income taxes, and that's really, in a lot of ways, a small percentage of what's going on, because when you figure property taxes, sales taxes, DMV fees for this, that,
Car
and everything else.
Lottery
Yeah, car
tickets.
registration, all the things you paid out. There would be a revolt in this country if you had to pay that bill at the end of the year. But the nickel
true.
and dime theory, it's a penny here. That's what they talk about. It's only going to be so much on your property assessment on this just for this tax. And this is why I say static analysis will kill you 98% of the time. Because, if that was the only thing that was on the tax bill, everybody else. But when your tax bill, your property tax bill goes to $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, you go, it's because you look at them 87 million charges and $1 here and $100 here and $1,000 here, yada yada. Pretty soon it adds up to real money.
Exactly. And what people need to do is when they see a tax on the ballot and it says, this is for 911 emergency service, or this is for police, or this is for school, call up your government representatives and say, what did you do with the rest of the money that was a higher priority than this? And demand that they prioritize the current budget. Because they will always come to the taxpayers and say, yes, we need this for paramedics. They never come to you and say, yes, we need this for new office furniture. They already spent your money on new office furniture. They already spent your money on stuff you would never vote for if they asked you. So the tax increase is always for the highest priorities. This is a game, and we have to put a stop to it. And the only way to do that is to vote no on all these tax increases.
You're exactly right. I'll tell you one of the most insane things I've done. Moreno Valley Unified School District passed a $398 million bond measure in 2014. 30 years, well, who knows? Well, you know that. It could go 80 years before they fully fund it out based on that, but inside baseball stuff. They spent around $20 million under the technology guys on leasing Chromebooks for 3 years that we're going to be paying for 30 years.
Right.
I mean, if there's any one example of financial suicide is buying short-term stuff with long-term money is absolutely insane.
It is insane. And now they're talking about doing basic school repairs with bond money when they've already had $45 billion in bond money since 2002 in California to do repairs and new buildings. And if they didn't clean up the asbestos and the lead pipes yet, why should anybody believe they're ever going to?
Yes,
There's no excuse for this.
you got about 30 seconds to tell them why they should join Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association.
Oh, well, first thing I'm going to say is vote no on 13.
Yes.
No on 13 on Tuesday. And join the Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association because it is working every day for the interests of taxpayers. And you help strengthen the voice of taxpayers when you join for just $15 a year at hjta.org. Join us.
You got it. We'll do it again next week. Thanks for being
Bye,
on.
Susan.
Thank you. Take care, Stephanie.
You too.
See, you can... There's a sane person that's telling you this stuff. Susan Shelley.
Yeah.
It's not... This is what I talk... When you hear me talk about it with City Council, Board of Supervisors, school districts, this is what I'm referring to.
But the Chromebooks, I feel like, were a good investment, though.
How could you... 3 years... Leasing them for 3 years and paying on them for 30?
They have more than 3. They're going to have them for more than 3
No,
years.
they
What are you
only
talking
lease.
about?
What lease means at the end of 3 years, you turn them... And that's the
No.
useful life of a computer.
Because they still have the Chromebooks now.
Yes, because they're like in year 2.
They'll have them next year. No, they've had them for like 5 years now. You didn't hear it right. Don't roll your eyes at me. I saw that. Wow, you did it again. He did it again. The hell, man?
You do not...
Right.
That is financial suicide.
You don't know that.
Yes! you...
I don't want to talk about it anymore.
There's a
Jesse,
legit...
stop with the sound effects.
If you're building school facilities, a new school...
But I'm saying
That
they
is
still
a
have the
legitimate-
Chromebooks, and they're going to have them. The kid takes a Chromebook all the way to high school.
No,
From
they're
third
not.
grade to high school. Yes, they do.
Chromebooks do not last that long.
Because they get new ones.
Yeah, those are good. That means they have to buy
I'm gonna
new
stop
ones with
talking.
more money.
Or
That 28
or-
million is gone. Poof. 3 years. You got to come up with some more because those computers
Okay,
ain't working
30
no more.
seconds.
Sean said shut up.
No, that's what it is. Financial suicide doing that.
20
And
seconds.
That's why the price per student is through the roof
You're
of
tripping.
that stuff. They don't dispute what I'm saying. They never have. I told them they could have built every project they did.
Okay,
without
here we
being
go.
wrong.
10 seconds.
Check us out online at KMET1490am.com.
IE Newswire Daily is on the air.
The following is a paid program. Views and claims expressed are those of the program producer and are not endorsed by this station. Opinions expressed are not necessarily those of radio station KMET, its management, employees.
Rocking and rolling back on the Mighty Net, 1490 AM, cruising in on this on a
Wicked Wednesday.
Cruising in all across the Inland Empire on ABC News Talk. What?
Damn you.
Well, you got to be right.
See, Sean, it took my intro again. Anyways, also go to KMET1490am.com and check out our live broadcast there and download the app today for all Android and Apple devices.
Yes, we do this every day, 5:30 to 6, Monday through Friday, on the Mighty Met, 1490 AM on that. Catch us because you'll get all the news and views that are important each and every day.
Wow, that was pretty good. Yeah, that was a mic drop.
You didn't think I could do that, did you?
Shut up.
We got a lot of stuff to cover on that. Have the Hannity video up. I wanted to do this because I wanted to do that. Bernie Sanders, this is some writings of Bernie Sanders doing that. Sean Hannity had it on this. This is going to blow your mind, I think, but I want to get your reaction of it. So I have that. This is a Sean Hannity video I think he ran Monday night. This is Bernie Sanders writing, I think, in the 70s. So roll the tape.
Vile, sick, ugly article that he wrote himself in 1972.
And now, Mercury Insurance presents.
That's what we're getting the deal of it's coming on with the ad. We'll replay that again because this is shocking on that. So if you
I'm so confused.
if you got sensitive ears coming up, please,
Oh, no, well, I do.
please tune in. Yeah, right.
Can I pull my earbud out?
We can go back and roll the videotape of your little hand gestures coming on.
Wow.
To start the show on that. You got
Wow.
that? Okay, roll the tape again. This is Sean Hannity
Show you as
on
well. Beyond
Bernie
creepy
Sanders.
and beyond graphic. In a piece entitled Man and Women, Sanders writes about various, quote, rape fantasies. One section writing, quote, a woman enjoys intercourse with her man as she's fantasizing about being raped by 3 men simultaneously. Move over Creepy Joe and former Mayor Bloomberg. In other words, in another paragraph, he writes, quote, do you know why the newspaper with articles like Girl 12 raped by 14 men sells so well? To what in us are they appealing, he writes. Bolsheviks, speak for yourself.
So
beyond gross,
that's
weird.
I mean, is as the graphic says, is that beyond creepy?
I'm still trying to process it.
I mean,
I don't get why he would make those statements. I'm trying to put myself in I
think
being
everybody's
in that moment
like,
and wondering what
Yes.
would trigger somebody to say such a thing. I think if
Yes.
you're like watching 50 Shades of Grey, then yeah, the first one would like totally be like spot on, but the other one, no. Why? Would you be talking about?
Yeah, it gets.
But then
weirder.
again, like you say too, I mean, people like the bad, the negative, and all that stuff. So people want to read what happened to this poor child to see the outcome. So I don't know. That's just still, why would you make that statement?
Yes, exactly.
And use that specific. So you would just then say people like the negative and they like hearing this.
No, that's beyond.
The
That's
bad
not
stuff,
negative.
but that's not
That is-
exactly. That's why I'm like
that is
that's-
creepy.
Why
That
would
is
you go
weird.
to that level?
That is twisted. I mean, that's somebody whose circuits ain't all put together right. I mean, to write that down because
But why would he write? What was he writing that to?
Exactly. That's what everybody's trying to figure out. What the
Nobody
hell
knows
was
where
he?
this came from.
No, it was in the piece on there. He was writing, I don't know, some sort of scholarly something or other that he was doing back in the day on that of doing
weird.
that. Yes. Why? I mean, you got some fried circuits. And I mean, this is, and it's written down. It's not.
You're right.
Okay, you were just talking. Maybe you had too many beers
And then,
or
yeah,
something.
that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm trying to put myself in that situation where
no,
you said something
this is something
stupid.
he wrote down, published in a major newspaper, da-da-da-da-da. I mean, that's why I say it. I don't see where you can get, like I say, you can't say, well, yeah, we were drunk partying or something, and I said, something stupid when, like we all have probably done. At
well, and
that
then
time.
you can take a clip and you can make it sound, but that's just, I don't know.
Yes.
The first one, I mean, like I said, if you're watching 50 Shades of Grey or something, I mean, it's still weird and twisted, don't get me wrong, but people are weird and twisted in the world.
Yes.
But the second one, that's just disturbing.
Yes.
That's like
why
a
I say
lot of things I can't say on air. I'll get fired.
But no, it goes downhill from there, and that's what I'm saying is that, I mean, that's like, this guy might be president of the United States with his finger on the nuclear button, and this stuff's rolling around in his head. I mean, again, all you Bernie bot supporters out there, this is the guy you're supporting. I mean, you think this of all the stuff that he's talking about, have video number 1 roll it up on the screen on that, because this is on the debates that happened last night. Roll this one.
Have been accused of discrimination.
This is
They are bound by non-disclosures so that they cannot speak. If he says there is nothing to hide here, then sign a blanket release and let those women speak out so that they can tell their stories the way I can tell my story without having to fear that they're going to be sued by a billionaire.
Thank you. We have a number of issues discussed tonight, but I want to give the mayor an opportunity to respond because she has raised concerns about women in your workplace. At the last debate, you said some of your female employees might not have liked some of your jokes. Did these women take your jokes wrong, or were you wrong to make the jokes?
Probably wrong to make the jokes. I don't remember what they were, so I assume if it bothered them, I was wrong, and I apologize. I'm sorry for that. But what happened here is we went back 40 years, and we could only find 3 cases where women said they were uncomfortable. Nobody accused me of doing anything other than just making a comment or two. And what the senator did suggest was that we release these women from the non-disclosure agreement. I did that 2 days later, and my company has said we will not use non-disclosure agreements ever again.
So stop right
the senator has got it.
I mean, so what? They're trying to make this big deal about that. I mean, the guy's running a $50 billion company, Bloomberg News. There's all sorts of this stuff, and they're trying to make a big deal. He says, no, this is the ones. The other ones, you're going to have to talk to them because it's happened in his company, but it didn't involve him, the 65 ones or other. Go ahead.
So he's not the one that made the joke?
No, in 3 cases
Employees?
he did. In 3 cases he did, so he's releasing those because he can release that.
But what jokes did he make?
Whatever, supposedly
like
sexually, yeah,
See, but I feel like that women just, they go with it and they run with it.
Yes.
Like, but men are pervs too, so I mean.
Well, that's true. But, okay, roll the rest of the clip.
And I don't know what else she wants us to do.
Oh, I'll be
We're
clear.
following exactly what she asked to do.
I'll tell you exactly
and the
what I
trouble
want you to
is, with this senator, enough is never enough for what this. I'm going to start focusing on some of these other things. We just cannot continue to relitigate this every time. We did what she asked. And thank you. We've probably made the world better because of it. And by my company renouncing using these, we probably changed, hopefully, the corporate landscape all across America.
But if you get nominated, we'll be relitigating this all year.
Do what I asked.
Senator Warren, that is a very serious charge that you leveled at the mayor.
Yes.
You told a woman to get an abortion. What evidence do you have of that?
Her own words.
And Mayor Bloomberg, could you respond to this?
I never said it. Period. End of story.
Look,
categorically never said it. When I was accused of doing it, we couldn't figure out what she was talking about. But right now, I'm sorry if she heard what she thought she heard or whatever happened. I didn't take any pleasure in that. And we've just got to go on, but I never said it. Come on.
What I asked the mayor to do is to do a release of all people who have
We
discrimination
are doing that,
claims.
Senator.
Look, who have
want to get to
What did he say, though? You were talking.
Yeah,
what did he say? I can't do that?
Yeah, because the other cases, 60 of them, involve other people, employees of his company that sign non-disclosure agreements that he cannot release that stuff unless they do because they're the parties, the ones that settled it and did that.
That guy in the middle, though, he just looks so lost. It was funny.
Play clip number 2. This is the one. This is the one I want to get to on that. So this is them on the Russia deal and Bernie and going across all the stuff on that. So when you got it ready, play that because this is going to prove where Bernie is at. Not only the creepy stuff, but why he's dangerous on the economy. So have number 2 and have number 3 ready to go right after this. Please. Where is the video of that? Yes, of that. So yes, Bernie's going on about how they're asking him about his praising of Castro in Cuba and the socialist stuff, and he's trying to defend it. And he says, "Oh, I'm just doing what Barack Obama said." And then we're going to play that clip when we're doing it after that when we go. So here's clip number 2.
Sympathy for socialist governments in Cuba and in Nicaragua. Can Americans trust that a democratic socialist president will not give authoritarians a free pass?
I have opposed authoritarianism all over the world, and I was really amazed at what Mayor Bloomberg just said a moment ago. He said that the Chinese government is responsive to the Politburo. But who the hell is the Politburo responsive to? Who elects the Politburo? You got a real dictatorship there? Of course you have a dictatorship in Cuba. What I said is what Barack Obama said in terms of Cuba, that Cuba made progress on education. Yes, I think, really?
Yes, they're booing
Really?
you.
Yes, because there's no
Okay,
comparison.
stop the tape there and have clip number 3 ready to go. So,
please.
And we got time short, so we can't be... So we got that. So Bernie's saying that education is great in that. In Cuba, everything's going good, and this is where we're going with it. So play clip number 3. This is what Barack Obama said.
And I said this to President Castro in Cuba. I said, look, you've made great progress in educating young people. Every child in Cuba gets a basic education. That's a huge improvement from where it was. Medical care. You know, the life expectancy of Cubans is equivalent to the United States, despite it being a very poor country, because they have access to health care. That's a huge achievement. They should be congratulated.
Obama said this in 2016. Oh, healthcare's great in Cuba. They're just having their education system's great and everything else, and go talk to the Cubans down there. They're absolutely starving to death still under the totalitarian.
But maybe he went down there and they
regime.
told him everything was great.
Yeah,
they didn't want
everybody
the
knows
state
Cuba
or
is a
Cuba to look like
hellhole
Pearl.
under Castro and Castro's brother and all this stuff. There's no denying, and this is what happens under socialism. If you get to that on that, we're going to switch subjects.
Yeah, let's get happy now,
yes,
please.
we're going to switch
talk about
subjects
something
on that.
fun and exciting.
Do that. Coming up Saturday at Auto Club Speedway, there's the Xfinity 300 is going to be coming up along with the Auto Club 400, which will be Sunday with the Monster Cup Energy Series. We got a special guest who's going to be running in the Xfinity 300 Saturday. He's kind of as racing has got big in corporate, especially in the NASCAR world and the big teams and all that stuff. He's an independent guy that's got his own team rolling around out there on that, probably on a shoestring budget, but he's making a go of it. Tommy Joe Martin's competitor out at Auto Club Speedway Saturday. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Roy. Thanks, Stephanie. Thanks,
Hey,
guys,
Tommy.
for having me on.
You got it. You had kind of a little bit unusual background. I think you kind of started out in road racing a little bit, kind of came up through the ARCA ranks and the trucks and all that and into Xfinity Series. But tell us what it's like running your own team and putting that all together, and you being the point guy that has to get it all done.
Yeah, let's say it's a lot more stressful than my last few years when I've been able to drive for other owners. Anytime you own a business, and you're that invested in it, obviously everything is a big deal, right? So I think that's the main thing is just how much more time and effort you spend on a lot of the little stuff that you kind of took for granted when I was able to just drive somebody else's car. But I'm really blessed to be able to do what I'm doing now and have the sponsors that we have on our team, like AAN Adjusters, Don Adjusted Deans, and Gilroy Farms, Red Angus. I got to plug everybody here, guys, if I'm on the show.
Go ahead.
But that's one of the reasons that I get to do what I'm doing and own this team and also be a driver. And look, that's the thing I get the most enjoyment out of is driving the car. But without a doubt, I think when you're able to have some success with your own team, it just adds to another level of kind of like fulfillment with that whole thing.
It is, because it's a challenge, because the amount of dollars it takes to run even an Xfinity team, it can be tremendous. And like you said, you can't do it without sponsors and major help behind you to keep you out there racing. And to be doing it as what they used to call independent guys, like Dave Marcus and
Exactly.
Back in the day that used to do that, James Hilton and a lot of the older guys that were the independents, J.D. McDuffie and stuff that did that. But, those guys are few and far between now. So, I give you props for actually making a go of this in NASCAR today, because it was difficult back then. It must be about 10 times more difficult to try and make a run at this like you're doing.
Yeah, look, the initial money that it takes to go do it, absolutely. I think it's probably too much. I wish that more people could get the opportunity. But this is something that unfortunately I've had some trouble doing before. Like, we ran a truck team in 2016 with my father and me, and it went poorly. Quite frankly, we wound up shutting the team down after a couple of seasons, and I think we learned so much from that. We're able to come back, and I really think Xfinity as a whole just does such a great job with us in this series, and the way they've been able to support it and bring in sponsors and really add money and value to the series, that I think it makes it viable for a team like ours. If we're able to go out and have success, we think that we can come a lot closer to breaking even just with the prize money and the sponsorship that we're able to get together. Look, do not get into racing if you're trying to get rich. That is a wrong approach.
Yeah.
But I do believe that we, in this series, in the Xfinity Series with NASCAR, can come pretty close to breaking even. And believe me, that's like a win when it comes to racing dollars and cents wise.
This has been a theory of mine. Excuse me. And I don't know how long you've been involved in the sport, but I go back to the 70s and this when I was a kid, watching Jack Ingram and Sonny Hutchins running the old late model sportsman division. What was cool about that is the car you ran at the Orange Show Speedway here in California or Myrtle Beach, South Carolina in the late model sportsman division. it was basically under the same rule that you ran on Saturday night in that you could run at Riverside or Ontario or at Daytona and Charlotte. Maybe slick up the body. You had to have a fuel cell in it and stuff and a couple little safety treatments. But I really believe that I think there would be a renaissance in Saturday night racing and the Xfinity Series if that concept was back the same way. If you had a short track car that you were racing on that and you could take it to the big speedway once a year when they come to your area, I think that would facilitate more opportunities for guys like you that could get out there and get a start instead of having to rely on somebody else or being picked up by one of the big teams, which those seats, as you know, are very few and far between.
Yeah, absolutely. I think more opportunities like that would be better for everybody. I mean, you're preaching to the choir here, Roy. I think I've written a lot of stuff. I write a blog and do a lot of that kind of stuff, kind of with my experience in running a Truck Series team. And one of the things that I really, really wanted to push for was more similarity between the cars and between the trucks, specifically in those lower divisions, of being able to run more racetracks. And I think what you're talking about there, absolutely, you're hitting the nail right on the head. I think you got to be able to give a local racer an opportunity to potentially go out and compete on a national stage, right? And I think that's what I'm able to do now in NASCAR. And that's where things have snowballed for me. Because I've been able to race in the NASCAR Truck Series and the Xfinity Series, I've been able to raise sponsorship, right? So it's like getting out in that limelight allows you to potentially grow yourself as a driver. Number one, you're going to get better. It's extremely hard, right? I mean, we're talking about competing at one of the highest levels in the country. But also, number two, it gives you a platform to promote yourself better and get to do interviews with you guys, right? And like talk about the sport as a whole. So absolutely. I wish there was a way. I think the ARCA series specifically would be a perfect type of series for something like that, right? To have a universal car that could be run at local short tracks and also on a national series. I think that's something that we absolutely should be looking at moving forward as a sport, a way to kind of re-energize and re-engage a lot of the short track racers around the country, because there's a lot of them. It's just that maybe they don't have the funds or whatever reason they can't go up and try to compete on that national stage. They got to get sponsorship. They got to get partnerships created to be able to go do that. So I think being able to say, you know what? We're taking our car and we're going out to Las Vegas Motor Speedway next weekend, or we're going to Auto Club this weekend. Somebody that's like a local guy at Madera Speedway.
There you go.
Come over there to Auto Club and go run. I think that would be really awesome.
That's exactly my point. You got 3 in a row coming out here, starting Las Vegas this week, Auto Club here, and then they'll end up next week in Phoenix on that. And yeah, you're not seeing the local guys like Huddleston and stuff like that are running out here at our local short tracks at Irwindale. Lenny White, which runs at the Orange Show Speedway just down the street. Both of them are like about 20 miles each way from that. But they're not racing in these races on that. And that wasn't the case back in the 70s and 80s. They could take that car they had, or maybe build a better one or something. But it was still the same basic stuff. They could take parts of that. If they only had one engine, maybe they built a slicked up super speedway car to run at Ontario and Riverside when they came out here. But they might have the engine in that to go out there. But you were out there competing against when L.D. Ottinger or some came out in the Black Diamond Coal car in '75 when he won the championship out there, and he was running out. Bobby Allison would run in the races and stuff, and even a guy named Rick Kendrick came out here in 1987. Right. I don't know if you won, and ran the sportsman race, or Grand American, it was called like that out here in that time. And I think we're missing that, and I think that's a reason why you don't see a lot of the local fans do that, because their local heroes aren't running in these races.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's the connection that NASCAR is really striving for. And I think you're touching on a really great way to engage everybody, right? Because now you're engaging local fans, but more importantly, you're engaging local drivers, right? And people that are short track hero drivers that are already coming with a fan base, and now they're able to perform on, without a doubt, the big stage. And anybody that wants to poo-poo that and say, you know what, NASCAR, it's not what it used to be. NASCAR is not this and not that. And really, the only thing that matters is this local short track. All right, look, everybody deep down wants to race NASCAR, without a doubt. I have that 100%. I think every single local racer would love to get the kind of opportunity that I've got, and I'm very blessed to have it. I think we've got to do a better job as a sport of allowing those type of people to be able to get those opportunities on their own.
That's exactly why, and that's kind of.
He says it's so much better than you do.
Well, that's probably why he's racing and I'm not anymore. But I mean, you're picking him, and that's why I kind of wanted to set the tone of the conversation like that, because you're one of the few out there that kind of has, that kind of keeps that dream alive and doing that. And I think NASCAR, in amongst that, especially at the lower divisions, is missing that part on that. And I think everybody would mutually benefit if they would work in this direction, because if you can imagine, if you had the guys that were running the local short tracks, like you say, at Madeira or Irwindale, Orange Show, or all this, Stockton 99,
County.
Tucson, Arizona, all that stuff.
Right.
If they were competing at these races out here, I think you'd see a lot more fans in the stands and a lot more interest in what was going on versus, we're seeing the big guys come in once a year. They come in, they come out. No, we want to see our guys, how they stack up against guys like you.
Yeah, I think you're right on the money. I think, and this could be a thing that, if you think about it, really, that we have a national tour, right? I mean, we go all over the entire country. So we're not just talking about just in Southern California, just in the West Coast. We're talking about the Midwest, the Northeast, obviously the Southeast as well. And you have guys that are extremely talented. I'm going to use a guy like out west, like Derek Thorne, who has won the SRL Tour out there for a few years now and is a really good late model racer. Okay, let's give him an opportunity to get out there and race at Auto Club Speedway. Because right now the only way to do that is in the Xfinity Series or in the Cup Series. And it's kind of tough to go straight from a late model straight to that. So what is that bridge? And that's why I think, for the way we're talking about this, a series like ARCA, I think, is the perfect example of this, where you could have some form of a West Series and East Series like they're doing now, but potentially stretch this out to where that's a car that is a local short track car rather than just a purpose-built to run this one series type of car. It needs to be a more universal thing. And look, that's not just NASCAR. Okay, that's not just the NASCAR problem or just an ARCA problem. That's really just a short track racing problem. We've done a bad job as a sport as a whole of keeping people connected to this. We consistently we innovate with really, it's kind of like the bane against a lot of the local small guys, right, where these cars are becoming more specified. Like you talked about having a speedway car to go to Daytona with, and we're going to run a completely different car, like at Las Vegas this past weekend, like we would run at Auto Club Speedway, versus what we're going to take to Phoenix. That's a different car. So because this is so specified, and it's not just one car, and it's not just something you could roll to every one of the tracks, well, that causes a lot of problems, right? Because now if somebody out here on the West Coast wanted to go run California, for example, they wanted to run Auto Club Speedway, they would have to basically create a car just for that.
Yep.
They could take the same car to Phoenix, but they would have to do a whole lot of stuff to it to try to make it competitive. So that's the other part of this. Like, just because they can doesn't necessarily mean it would be competitive. And we're trying to create an environment.
You got it. Time's running short, but I'm gonna appoint you czar of fixing racing on this. But you got about 30 seconds.
That would say the same thing.
Yes, you got about 30 seconds or so. Plug all your sponsors. Get anything you out. Go.
Oh, yeah. No, first of all, thank you guys for having me on. Everybody come out and see this race. This is absolutely one of my favorite places to race in the entire country. And I'm not just saying that because I'm talking to y'all. It is wide open, big, wide track, a lot of passing, a lot of tire fall off. And I think we're going to have a really great car to run this weekend with AAN adjusters on the hood for us. We had a tough week in Las Vegas this past week. We had a fire under the hood. My guys did an awesome job repairing it. And now we're bringing that same car. You talk about kind of the independent spirit. The same car. We changed a lot of stuff. And we're taking it over to Auto Club Speedway, and hopefully we're able to compete for a top 10 this weekend.
You got it. Thanks for being on, Tommy Joe.
Bye, Tommy.
We'll be seeing you out there Saturday out at the races. Thanks for being on.
Have fun.
Stephanie. Thank y'all.
You got it.
Bye.
There's that music coming in on that. We're about in and out.
Head out to the Auto Club Speedway this weekend.
And
it's
as we
be a
usually
blast.
say,
we're gone. I want